right, welcome back to the Joe Cozzo Show. We have lots to talk about. I got something going. I got something cooking here. This is the big leagues. It's New York.
I said I was in the worst neighborhood, man. I said I had a near-death experience.
Crazy?
Robert, if you've been through what I've been through in the past month, you'd be crazy too. I said I was in the worst neighborhood, man. I said I had a near-death experience.
Crazy?
Robert, if you've been through what I've been through.
Hi, Ben.
Are we rocking and rolling?
We're on.
All right.
All right, here we go.
You got to spend more time in the studio.
We got to spend a little bit more time in the studio. Okay, here we go. Want to take that off of there. So you good, Eric?
I'm good.
All right, we're rocking and rolling. Mike Dowd.
Joe Cozzo.
Welcome
I
back.
did call you Joe Rogan a little while ago.
Yeah, I'll take his money.
Yeah.
I'll take his money.
Yeah.
Listen,
If
it's
you,
great
can, kick,
seeing
if
you
you
back.
can kick like him, that'd be.
Yeah, kick like him.
Oh, I mean,
I'll take his bank account.
yeah, okay.
More than anything else. I'll take everything I got, but I'll take his bank account over.
there you
Eric,
go.
are we good?
Yeah, man.
We're rolling? We're rock and roll. Couple of technical issues, but we're back. We're here. What's going on with this country?
I don't want to start, so why don't you tell me? First of all,
Let me ask you this. The documentary, the 7-5, right?
right.
Great documentary.
Yes.
We don't have to rehash the whole
No,
thing.
no,
You
no,
came on
yeah.
the show a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
We did the whole thing there.
Right.
Are you still, do you get still the analytics? How did it go? How did it do?
So all right. So I'll capsulize the whole thing. So at this moment, Netflix had it for 3 years. I don't know if you're aware of that. They had it for 3 years, which is probably one of the longest running documentaries ever on Netflix because they don't really run documentaries that long. They keep fresh changing them, and it's been out in the resale market where you can purchase it now. Or Amazon. There's all kinds of Primes. Prime and Amazon are the same company. Tubi, YouTube. So a lot of sales of it going on, and I've seen nothing, by the way. So other than a little bit of a
What do
fee
you
that
mean?
they gave me.
So how is it that you negotiated that and you didn't get any real money for it? Because I got to tell you something. When I first watched it, at the end of it, I said, this is a phenomenal documentary.
Right.
I mean, you're fucked up.
Yeah, besides that.
You're fucking.
Besides that.
That's besides
But I take that. I wear that.
But you know what, though? For all the fucking up that you did, all the stuff that you went through,
Right.
and everything, and not receive money for that, and putting yourself out there the
Yeah.
way you did,
yeah.
do you look back and say, was it worth it?
No, it was. Actually, it wasn't. But I will say, in some respects, it was. Because why? Because I've now be able to. I've got a little bit of a platform because of it, and well, people may sort of hate me. In some respects, they admire my candidness, right? So it gave me a platform to be able to speak. So I get some speaking engagements to police organizations, to corrections organizations, to colleges.
They'll let you do it even though the light that was shined on you through that documentary was not a favorable one, should I say? It wasn't like you saved somebody from the pothole or from the
Right.
falling off a
Yeah,
bridge.
that doesn't make the documentary.
Yeah, that one did.
those things don't
Yeah.
make the documentary. Right,
Yeah, of
that's
course.
correct.
Nobody would watch.
Yeah, well, right. You have to have a train wreck.
You have to have- yeah.
If there's no train wreck, there's no sense in watching the show. But I guess I don't know what the impetus is that causes people to reach out, but I think that through the documentary, you can see there's a human being, and if that makes sense.
Yeah. Of course.
So people began to see themselves in me in a way. Because why? Because people are fallible, and genuinely everybody has some kind of a good bone in them, and they want to see people that have fallen succeed or at least come back. The underdog. It's the underdog theory where. I've been rooting for the Jets since '69. Okay, and
Quarterback is the worst.
Yeah, and so on and so forth. So people seem to gravitate to those, and especially they want to see them come up or at least be okay, because inside of every person is a little bit of that guy Michael Dowd that they show in the documentary, where I can skirt some things, and I understand why these regimented programs like the police organization or the military, they're not perfect, but they're designed for specific results. And inside those organizations, there is always a little bit of a gray area, and people identify with the gray area.
Do you get when you had to leave the precinct?
Right.
Did you have a package deal? Did you get your pension? Did you not? I mean, I'm being honest.
Yeah.
Because
Nothing, zero. I didn't walk away. I got dragged away.
Dragged away.
Right. So zero. I got zero. I came out of incarceration after 12 and a half years and had to start over from zero. But thank God I had parents and a family that was by my side and still
What was
are
it?
by my side.
So you did 12 years.
12 and a half.
12 and a half years.
Right.
What was when you came out? What was the biggest difference that you saw? In the world?
Speed because I was in a controlled environment for a long time, so the speed of life was very different outside than inside. That's one thing. And two, I went in the 90s, early 90s, and the computer generation had just begun to become personalized. And by that I mean they had the 64. Was it like the
Commodore 64?
Commodore 64.
Best.
Right.
Comma 8, comma 1.
That was the big thing, right?
Yes.
So that's when I went in, right? But when I came out, people had cell phones, and the whole world was. I didn't even know I didn't know what it was like to actually use a real cell phone, what you would consider. Back in the 2004 when I came home, they had flip phones, and I didn't know how to use one. I would put it from my ear to my mouth, and it was the whole world had changed. And what I noticed, and I've spoken about this in the past, is that was the single most important advancement in reducing the crime in New York City.
It was what?
The cell phone.
Reducing?
Yes.
Why do you say that? Because people could instantly get in touch with the cops?
Instantly, and be on the phone at 3:30 in the morning with somebody while you're walking down the streets of Brooklyn.
Yes. So you could tell where they are, the GPS.
Well, not just that, but if I'm a perpetrator, right? Not that I am. I've been accused of it. If I was a perpetrator, if I were opportunist, if I were an opportunist, and I saw a male, female, somebody walking down the street at 3:30 in the morning in Bensonhurst or in Canarsie or Bed-Stuy, if they're on the phone at 3:30 in the morning, they know that they're the person, the attacker, the victimizer, would know that this person could instantly get in touch with somebody else.
So you're saying, that's one of the things why the crime...
So when Giuliani came into office...
The best.
Right?
The best.
He did the best. He did I'm not personally favorably disposed to him because some of the things he said about me personally. However, he was good for the city, so I don't take that away from anybody. Just like if you don't like Trump, it doesn't matter if you like him or not. It's what he's done,
Let me ask you this. So somebody that was in New York
right
at the time when Giuliani was at the helm, and you saw the changes that happened,
right.
And then you look at New York now. What a shithole, right?
Disaster.
But why do you think the powers that be have allowed New York to deteriorate to the way it is right now? What's your opinion?
There's always a political motive. I don't know who gains from it, but it seems as though, and I don't want to get into. Well, we can get into anything here, right?
Get anything you want. I don't give a shit.
So it seems as though there's a lot of political pandering going on, and what happens is, so I was in prison with a lot of different ethnic groups, okay? And when they went after the crack epidemic in New York City, they incarcerated a lot of young male blacks. And I think as a way to apologize for that era from the late 80s to the late 90s, where they incarcerated so many young African-American kids from the inner cities for long periods of time, they now are trying to somehow
make up
for that. And
first of all, I hear what you're saying. So, but basically, for you to say that is they purposely. Oh, you trying to say? And there's a lot of theories and there's a lot of things that were written about it. But are you saying that the crack epidemic was purposely put into play to target young black minorities? Because if that's not what you're saying, then why are we giving back? They just the ones who fell suspect to it. Because there was a lot of white people that were cracked out.
Yes, but the violence was in the black community, and the and all the activity was through the black community, and it was you can go into the theories of how it was promoted and whatnot. But the fact is, they suffered the most from it.
Why do you think that? And what would be your theory? Why? So you have crack.
Okay.
And it's
all about economics and money. It's always about money. It's got to go back to money.
Everything is about money.
Everything's about everything. So there was no. So young. Okay. So young. Let's call them young men, adolescents that want brand new Nike Airs, Jordan Airs, right? What was
Air Jordans.
They can't afford them. They're $200 a pair back then, right? So they need to earn money because they want to keep up with the local symbol of the.
You want to keep up with the Joneses.
With the Joneses, yeah. So the one guy can afford it and 6 others can't. So there's a way for those guys to get those type of things, and that's to rob, sell crack. What part of the business do you want to be in? And that's not to say that there's 400,000 people doing right and 3,000 people doing wrong, and those people, just like today with the liberal left, right? There's 2 to 3% of their whole political agenda is control. 2 or 3% of the people in their whole political sphere control the agenda of 48 other percent of them because they are louder and more powerful and more noisy and more control. So this is like a whole conglomeration of what takes place in society. And what they've done is they tried to pander to people by saying, like Bragg, was this guy Bragg, the district attorney in New York City?
Yeah, Bragg.
It's pandering. They're pandering to people. They're making excuses for their behavior. And by doing so, you've now created a friend in those that are
a block. A voting block.
Exactly.
I know. I said
this is all about money and
votes
power.
And power. That's
right.
Power and money.
Right.
That's the two things that are going on. It's.
But here's the problem: they're hurting themselves. Every person that engages in this type of pandering, I mean, if you look at them, they all end up getting either robbed, some of them robbed, shot, beaten.
But they don't look at that aspect because they think that they're at a higher level that it won't affect them. Like, for example, the border is wide open, but yet you go to Obama's and it's a gated community.
Yeah, right.
They live in a gated community.
Correct. Yeah.
So, which is probably one of the most hypocritical things that you could possibly, Go
to Pelosi's house. Well, although one guy did get in.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's. Let me ask you something because you said.
Well,
about
how did he
the left.
get in? How did he get in? Was he let in?
You want to talk about that? So, what is your theory on the whole Nancy Pelosi and her husband and what happened there? Like, if you had to,
well, he's taking some fudge. Yeah. He's in the fudge program.
Yes.
Yeah. There's no question.
There's no question.
It's actually facts.
Why do you think though that they're able to? It's really crazy how they're able to get away with stuff. And when you have that type of power, like
they control the media.
We're not going to release the body cam footage when they were at the door. Why?
Yeah. Why?
Why would I not? Why are we not?
I want help.
Transparency.
We need help here to resolve. Not you and I, but the nation wants to know.
What? Like why? What's the secret?
Was this a Trumper with his Trump hat on coming in? Because that's what they had you believe.
I know.
You know that.
They do that all the time, whatever it is.
Spin.
Yeah, it's always spin. So let me ask you this. As someone who is a Republican, correct?
I'm a conservative. I'm not.
Conservative.
Yeah.
First of all,
I vote Republican because that's the only conservative people I see.
I think, in my opinion, that both parties are as corrupt as can possibly be. And I think that you're starting to see that now with the advent, of social media. You see this with how, first of all, nothing gets done. They're all corrupt. You have Kevin McCarthy. You have Mitch McConnell, who, the leaders of the Republican parties.
Embarrassment.
It's embarrassing. Exactly.
Well, McConnell is a total different plane. I mean, McCarthy, I'll give him a little slack. I don't know enough about McCarthy, but I've seen McConnell now for quite some time. He's a manipulator. He's a sellout.
He's on the take with China because of his wife.
He's deep. I don't know if she's working with China. I don't know, and I don't want to say that about her, but there's no way that they're clean. There's no way, and because he can. How could you go on national TV and tell the national audience as a card-carrying Republican that our candidates are weak? I mean, you just threw anybody, like you discouraged people from voting. For you.
But what's
subterfuging? You're undermining.
But why do you think that somebody of his stature would do something like that? What's the motive?
I don't know, because Trump got him in office. If you're behind, if you ask Trump to support, he was behind in his race in was he Kentucky? Yeah. He was behind in his race. He has Trump to come in and support him. Trump supports him. He wins by 15, 20 points.
But now he can't stand there at neck and neck at each other. You know, whatever.
I mean, these people, they're sellouts. There's no true conviction there. It's what. So there it comes back to this: money. There must be some money involved. And I'm not saying they're taking hand cash out payouts, but they control such huge budgets, these people. And their votes, I mean Pelosi, we all know, is a $100 millionaire due to her success in stock picking.
Yeah, stock picking. Yeah. I want to go back, though, to what we were talking about in New York City, because I really didn't get the answer from you.
Yeah, it's.
I'm just saying, though, like, somebody that's a resident of New York your whole entire life, that you work there, and you see what's going on. I mean, first of all, do you think, let me ask you about marijuana law.
Go ahead.
Do you think that is actually something that benefits society by taking that off the books and allowing people to just walk around and smoking marijuana? Mm-hmm. Or do you think that it's a recreational drug, synonymous to, say, alcohol,
right,
and everybody should just be allowed to walk around the city, mm-hmm, light up a joint, mm-hmm, and have fun?
Okay, so.
Because I think that, in my opinion,
go ahead,
that has something to do with also what you were alluding to, pandering.
Yes. Okay, so I hate the smell of marijuana. Okay, now some people love it. But because I don't like it, I don't want to control you or tell you what to do. I am for no drug laws. Zero.
Really?
Zero drug laws.
None?
Zero.
You have heroin, that's your thing.
Do what you want.
Do what you want.
Do whatever the hell you want. Because 99% of the people that are going to do it whether you like it or not. And they have a whole prison industry developed over people that have bought and or sold drugs. I feel let it all run.
But what about the people that are buying the drugs? They're selling the drugs.
So listen, so there's a lot of ways to control things, right? So you can't drive while you're drinking. And you can't walk down the street with a beer in your hand. Can you?
Why can you walk around the street with a joint in Times Square, but I can't do a swig of vodka?
Yeah.
Why?
Or a whiskey.
What? I don't understand.
Yeah. That's my point. That's what I'm getting at here. I believe if you're going to allow one drug, which we all would agree alcohol's a drug. I mean, it's a good one.
Yeah.
And a bad one.
And a bad one.
People die from it.
Yes.
So
consider the gateway, so to speak.
Consider what you want. One guy's gateway is another guy's stopping point. All I know is I'm not for drug laws. I think they should all go away. I spent a lot of time in prison watching people come in and spend their lives in prison for selling and making money on it and or using it. Now, if you need help, take all them billions for prisons and put it into some rehabs. Gamblers Anonymous. They don't put people away for gambling, do they? No, they don't. No, but there's probably this past weekend there's probably $100 billion spent on gambling.
When you were in jail, what would you first of all, where did you stay?
Prison, they call it.
Prison.
Yeah.
Where were you?
I was in several, but started out in MCC, New York, ended up in Marianna, Florida for a considerable amount of time. And
were you ever at Rikers at all?
For a couple hours in transport and things like that. I had to go to, so not significantly, no.
Okay, so. In prison, though, like when you see how things are run there, how would you change things? Because I'm in agreement with you. Like, if you're going to go to prison, why not rehabilitate the people that are in there? The taxpayers are already paying through the ass to have the prison stay open. Why have these people that are in there then just come out and just be recidivists?
No. So the answer to from a guy who did 12 and a half years, I didn't come out with the skill. What do I mean by that? I learned how to read. By the way, I went to prison almost illiterate. I couldn't read. I have dyslexia, so my reading skills improved. So I learned something in prison. 2, you need to come out with a trade. You need to be employable, and you need to get a job, and you need to be employed. So I thought about this the other day, by the way, while I was driving around doing one of my shows on Facebook Live or whatever I did. Yeah. So I didn't. So. Prior to the show, I was thinking about what can the world do about this recidivism, this no bail, this whole system of criminal justice. And we'll proclaim it right here on the Joe Cozzo Show. I want companies like Verizon, Coca-Cola, go down the list, AT&T, all the major companies in the world that are international companies, they all have infrastructures in place to manage their employees. I'm not talking about the Joe Cozzo show with 3 employees, or 10 or 100, 500. My point is, or the pizzeria on the corner. I'm talking about these corporations should be required to hire as part of their. Now they have incentive programs for them, but they should be required to hire people that come out of prison and put them in
some type of vocational program that they can make an employment.
First of all, they should be involved in training them in prisons. I want to be a wireman for Verizon, let's say. They should be involved in training them in the prisons.
I don't agree with that.
You don't have to.
That's ridiculous.
No. I'm going to tell you why. Because they're coming out to a home near you. And then what are you going to do with them?
Yeah, but that's not a private entity's issue. That's society's issue.
These are not private companies anymore.
I know, but
these are Verizon. You may call it private,
a public company,
but they get a lot of government funding, and they're huge.
My thing is this. When you have people like, say, Apple, who is so into social justice, right?
Yeah.
But yet,
So should they be in prisons?
No, what I'm saying, just hear me out, though. You have Black Lives Matter. You have, you go on their page when the whole thing with George Floyd and all this stuff. And then all of a sudden, you find out that they turn a blind eye to what's happening to the Uyghurs in China.
Right.
Because why? Money. Power. Because that's why they do it. It kind of sounds really hypocritical to me. So now, if you're telling me that they're somehow benefiting or they're being, hypocritical with people that are coming in and out of jail, that's maybe one thing. But like, say, social justice, when you have the NBA and they have Black Lives Matter all across the basketball court or on the back of the jerseys because of George Floyd, but then the next thing you know, their second biggest market is China, and China tells them, hey, you better not talk about Hong Kong or we're not going to broadcast your games, and then they bow down to them.
Mm-hmm.
I have a problem with things like that.
Okay.
But do you see how crazy the world is? How you really,
Joe,
when it really comes. No, listen,
you just contradicted everything that you just said.
Why?
Because you're saying that by the social justice warriors programs and the fact that they turn a blind eye in China. And I'm telling you that they should be responsible here.
Yeah, but no.
That's what I'm getting at.
No, I know, but
they're faking it there, but then
but
you're not asking them to be responsible here.
But no, but what I'm saying is they're voluntarily saying something here about people, social justice. You're talking about people in jail.
Right.
I don't think that it should be mandatory that Coca-Cola hires criminals. I think people have their own company that they should have their own standards on who they're going to hire and not.
Right.
And if you have a felony record, that doesn't now I have to hire you. Not only that, how safe is now my work environment?
What do you recommend?
For what?
What do you recommend? The guy come out and go to a bank?
No, what I recommend is these people are going to jail, right? Mm-hmm. So I listen, I've never been in prison, so I don't know.
You've dealt with a lot of convicts, though.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know the day-to-day life, but I do think that prison should be school-oriented. You get up, you go to class, you do a couple of school, a couple of programs, then you go, it's almost like going to, say, college.
Well, prison is sort of like that in a way.
Okay, well, I don't really know too much about it. What I'm saying, though, is
but everybody
from what I hear is you wake up, you go to the yard, you smoke a couple of butts, you make sure you don't get raped. You go down to the mess hall, whatever it is, the cafeteria, you're eating, you're making sure. Then you go, you're back to your bunk, you're reading, you're doing push-ups, you're praising to Allah, and you do it all over again.
Okay, so everybody in prison is supposed to have a job. Okay, so they skipped that part, whoever told you.
Yeah, I know, license plates, making license plates.
No, see, that's my point.
But what is your point?
There's painting. Prison's is a community. And in the community, you have electricians, plumbers, air conditioners, HVAC workers. You have...
so they're learning.
Yeah, you have excavation equipment. You have everything in a prison that you have in society. So the point is this. It's already there. These people that are coming out, they're laundry workers, they're kitchen workers, so you have chefs, you have line workers that can work in Applebee's. There's all these different things. So it's already in place. But what you should be doing is having these people, look, you're asking to answer a problem. You're not saying to me, what do you want to do for this individual, that individual? We're trying to solve a problem.
I'm saying
I came out with a family that would support me by giving me a place to sleep and food in my belly. After that, I had to make my way. There's a lot of people don't come out with that. So they need to come out and hit the ground with a job that's not going to give them $9.40 an hour where their rent is just paid and then they can't get a pair of shoes and some underwear. They have to come out to society and be offered an opportunity where maybe their probation period, they're involved with their probation officer and a training officer at this Verizon or at Coca-Cola or at Apple, someplace, or at some large.
So but where does that stop, though? So where does it stop? So let me ask you this. So you have the guy that burglarized, say, Burger King, right? Okay. And now he does 2.5 years, and he comes out, and now you get him that job, as opposed to, say, the sex offender. Is there a criteria that, because you're,
What are you going to do with the sex offender? Castrate him?
No, I don't know. I'm asking you.
Go ahead.
I'm asking you, though.
My point is they're coming out. They're going to be in front of us.
My thing is
I don't want them in my neighborhood either, but what am I going to do?
My thing is not that you have these companies that have this obligation to do something. I think what they're doing in the jail, they're getting set up, prepared, they're learning. They might get a degree. They might get a vocational certificate. But here's the other thing. What I would do is I would take off the, have you ever been arrested? If so, have you ever been convicted of a felony, a misdemeanor?
Right.
If you want, I think that's the middle ground. You take away that.
Okay.
So now,
so
there's no background.
So watch this. I come out of prison. I just spent 10 years in the police department and 12.5 years in prison. Now I fill out the application. What does it say? Where's your last employment? 1992. What's today? 2004.
Okay.
They're going to say to you, okay, well, Mr. Dowd, you seem like a wonderful potential employee, which, by the way, I went on 30-some-odd interviews as a union representative, certified New York City FDNY certified refrigerant operator, okay? I could run the buildings. Technically, I can run these buildings because all the commercial plant in the building, I'm licensed to run them. I couldn't get a job because I ended in the PD in 92, went to prison for 12.5 years. So where are we going back? We're going back to high school now.
So what you're saying is regardless if you put I was arrested or convicted of
let's
this,
say you weren't.
You're still going to have, what I'm saying
Yeah.
is you're still going to have the conversation at the interview. Hey, I'm looking at your resume.
Yeah.
You're unemployed for the past 12 years. What were you doing?
Yeah, right.
So now you're going to still have to come up and say, well.
And then they hit Google. And then they hit Google.
And they're going to find out anyway.
Right. So what do you do? That's why I'm trying to get you and your audience to understand that these corporations that take, and by the way, I'm not anti-corporation. I love free enterprise. But there should be, if you want to be socially involved, take a program and put it together. Now, there are programs within, like Con Ed, I don't know the name of the company, Keyspan, whatever they are. Lilco, right? They had incentive programs where the government, let's say, or some entity would pay them a good portion of a convict's salary. It was called, hire a felon program, hug a felon, whatever it was. And by the way, who likes the term? No one does. Even a felon doesn't. But the fact is, they're going to be part of our society. Let's do so I sort of set up this model here, and we diverged from it. You're the probation officer. You're my probation officer. Wouldn't you like to know that I'm working for, I'm just going to use Verizon because they do this, by the way.
You're talking about a parole officer comes out of jail that I know exactly what you're doing. I got it all set up for you.
Yeah, I got it set up for you. I understand you got licensed in drilling holes in buildings and running wires while you were in prison, because that's what you do. You can do it in prison too. And there's maybe there's a check valve where a corporation says, this is how we'd like you to set up your program. We'll give your prison a grant for, I don't know, $500,000. And if you have these guys come out, we'll put them right into jobs where they're monitored for the first 6 months or a year while on probation to see if they could successfully matriculate back into society.
Are you saying, though, that there has to be a certain quota? Say Verizon has to hire 5 spots for the jail? Because then what about the people that didn't?
Okay, so I'm not.
So hold on. What about the people that never got arrested,
right,
have a clean record, and now it's almost as you're doing what they do in colleges.
Right.
We got to make sure we have 5 slots for blacks,
Right.
5 slots for Hispanics,
Right. I
which to me
I know
is
this
not right.
I know this is going to be part of the conversation. So the fact is this.
Right? I mean, what's the difference between those two?
Well, how about this? When he goes for the job, you're going to discriminate against him anyway.
That's the punishment of doing a crime.
So now what?
I don't know.
What do we want? We want more criminals?
No.
Or keep them in jail?
I think what you need to do is, in the jail, you have to rehabilitate them, and then when they come out, they're on their own.
Okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
Okay, but are you going to hold it against them that they have this 10 or 12 years span where they had no job?
I think that's up to the employer, should I
Right.
say.
But I can incentivize you as an employer.
Same thing what you do in colleges. I'm going to incentivize you. I'm going to give you certain grants if you make sure blacks are admitted a certain criteria into the college. It doesn't matter if they're less qualified than the Asian.
Okay, so what if they're equally qualified? Let's go to that.
Well, then I think that's fine. If they
I'm going to give you an incentive. Well, listen, we're trying to resolve a societal issue here. I'm going to give you an incentive that Michael the non-convict and Michael the convict come for you for a job. If you know that he has a record and you want to be helpful to reintegrate into society, we're going to give you a financial incentive. We're going to give you a tax break for half of his salary for the first 2 years. Now you have the opportunity to not to take him or not. Well, so we have to encourage. Believe me, I'm the first one. I've been discriminated against. Me. Why? And I'll use this loosely. I was a police officer, took the sergeant test. I failed it. I got an 80, 87, and a 53. I was on the job 2 years. I took the test. So two scores together, whatever the average was, didn't matter because I failed one part. I got a 53 on one part and an 87 on the other. My boss was a black guy, nice guy, very nice. Lonnie Owens, if anyone knows him out there. He failed, but now he was my boss. So I know what it's like to have to come under that type.
I just think, okay, but I
so was the city wrong?
I think no. Yeah, I think they were.
Okay,
I do.
We can agree that they were.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think anybody.
He didn't even have my competence level, and I don't mean to put him down. He wasn't as well. He got a lower mark than me, but he was my boss.
Let's expand this for a second because we could dance around this all day. You have your opinion on it, and I have mine, and I don't really have a solution.
Well, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that being said, right?
Because 3 million guys came out of prison in the last 3 years.
So I want to talk to you about this because this is something that's very. This is how Democrats. Right, honestly, though. I'm saying though, this is how Democrats get their votes because they come up with some solutions, like, hey, if you had a criminal record for selling marijuana, not only are we going to expunge it, we're going to also allow you to be the first people to be able to have a dispensary. Right here in New York, you'll be the first people. Right. You have to you had to have been arrested for marijuana to now be able to own a dispensary.
Okay, well.
Think about that. So you have that, right?
Right.
But Republicans, they don't do any of these type of things, right? They just say, the only way we're going to get our voters is by what we stand for, right? Freedom of choice, life, we're against abortion. But they don't really have any incentives to try to get someone, say, the black community to come on board.
Right.
The LGBT. These are all voting blocks. Right?
Of course.
So what they do is the Democrats will turn the blind eye. You kind of alluded to this before. They'll turn the blind eye to, say, the what's the word that I'm looking for? Grooming of children of LGBTQ.
Right.
Because they don't want to come out against them because if they come out against them and say, hey, that's not right, then now what? They might lose that voting block.
Correct.
How do Republicans get out of their own way? How do they get to the point? Because I think that, whether you think that they're cheating at elections or there's just more people voting Democrat, how do Republicans ever gain traction and get back on track? What's their issue here? Because I think, as I just alluded to, there's a lot of pandering going on, and the Republicans are there's no new blood. They're just going off of their morals.
Yeah, well, so you have to create... You have to create an environment that's welcoming, right? I mean, and you have to show them whoever they are, whatever the voting bloc is. Like, so just recently, I was called out by LGBTQ, someone on Twitter or whatever.
Why?
I don't know why. Because they don't. Because I don't.
Come on, I'm sure you know.
I don't
You
know.
said something.
I don't listen. There's 1,000 things, but I didn't say anything. I was against something that maybe it was a grooming subject matter or something or whatever it was. What it was my response was this: I love you all. And I will show you that. I have nothing against you. But you have to break. See, when they control the media. So the media will continue to divide us. And this is where the problems begin. Because I don't care what you do at home. Just don't tell me what to do. And I won't tell you what to do. That's what I believe is the Republican / motto.
Yes.
It should be. I'm going to do what I want. You do what you want. But it has to be that way all the way down the line. You can't pick and choose what you think. It's okay that you take it in the brown. That's your business, right? It's okay if you.
Did you just say take it in the brown?
Yeah, take it in the brown. Isn't that? That's your business.
I never heard that. Take it in the brown.
You never heard that?
I never heard that. It's a good one.
I mean, the fudge. Whatever.
Yeah. I got it. I know exactly what you meant.
I don't care. I'm happy for you. See,
but do you?
I'm
care
older now. I'm 62. Back then, when I was younger and opinionated in a sense of, I see the world differently now. Okay, I'm okay as long as you don't bother me. I don't need to change you. Just don't try to change me. That's all.
Okay, but are you okay with them having that type of social justice, so to speak?
Why
equity? No, hold on.
Well, yeah.
The equity, like say on TV. Now, when you watch TV,
It's disgusting.
you have every single.
It's disgusting. You're pushing me. You're pushing your agenda on me.
Yeah, but not really, because you're voluntarily watching it. You don't have to watch.
I will change the channel.
Okay, but what I'm saying, so you're saying it kind of contradicts what you're saying. Do whatever you want, and I don't care.
Yeah.
But you do care.
No, but stop. I don't care what you do. I don't have to participate. That's all. So I'm not contradicting myself.
Well, you said that it's disgusting.
Well, because it's overwhelming.
Well, that's the whole point, right? If they can do whatever they want, they're not.
I don't need to
pushing
be
it on you.
overwhelmed. Well,
They're not pushing.
Listen, 6 channels. If you put 6 primetime shows on today, 5 out of the 6 are going to have someone that's LGBT, or someone who's illegal alien subjects. All the subject matters in this country that are confrontational will come up in each one of those shows, and there's no one there to say the other side of it. Like, in other words, there's no debate in these shows. It's all funny laugh, ha ha ha.
Actually, I think it's I think it's actually shove it down your throat, and this is what it is,
Well,
and this is the end of it.
Well, that's my point. It's not. Yeah, you need to learn to like. In other words, it's bullying. Okay, there's bullying going on.
Where do you think
it's subjective? Whatever you want to say it. They're subjecting you to their lifestyle. Listen, we all had Fire Island when we were growing up, right? Fire Island, there was a big gay community on Fire Island.
Cherry Grove.
Everybody knew about it, and no one cared. Did anyone go there, beat them up, and bother them? No. That's their lifestyle. Go live it. That's okay. If you want to have a TV show with a couple of gay people on it, that's fine. But 6 out of 7 shows have to show the lifestyle that is 3% of the country or 2% of the country?
Well, you could, as the devil's advocate is this, then create your own shows that you don't. Like you have the Daily Wire, right? But they're not they're not on Channel 2, 4, or 7, but you can watch the Daily Wire. The Daily Wire is not going to have that type of stuff, right? The thing is the Republicans, they don't offer enough of what they're about to have some type of success.
Okay, that comes back to who controls the media.
Yes.
Bottom line.
Where do you think this all started? Well, I want to take you back here for a second. Now, let's go back, years, because my opinion, I want to ask you what your thoughts. I'm going to say something here, and you give me your thoughts here. The CIA, the FBI, right? I think that's where it all starts. Their influence on the media now and controlling what people are watching. You can see it on the Twitter files and everything. I think that's really where the root starts. They manipulate. Look what they did to Donald Trump in 2016.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
People should be going to jail for that. But yet we have a
large swaths of people should be going to jail.
But we have a Republican Party that has no balls, at all.
Right.
It's a disgrace. I don't even consider myself a Republican anymore.
No.
I'm lost, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm like I'm a nomad
Right.
trying to find. I wish that there was a third party,
Right.
that like a patriot party,
Right.
that would be, hey,
Maybe start it right here.
Yeah.
There's a patriot organization.
Yeah, but
they'll go
you-
to jail.
but you
They're
understand-
locking them up.
they'll lock them right up. But
Right.
there's no locking up on the other side.
No.
Talk to me. What is
No
your-
Antifa gets locked up. No BLMs get locked up.
Nothing. You could rob. You could steal.
Anything
you
you
could cheat
want.
on your
Go
taxes.
right ahead.
You know, even what's going to happen here on the January 6th, right? It's coming up here. They're going to have the whole thing. Joe Biden will come out. He'll talk about how disgusting it was.
Yeah.
But yet, nobody will come out and say how disgusting it was for BLM.
To burn the cities down.
To burn the cities down. Nobody was,
Hundreds of people injured, dozens and dozens killed.
churches couldn't go out. You couldn't go out.
There's
during
people out there still crying over the loss, and no one gives a shit.
No, but what I'm saying is even with COVID, right? You couldn't go out and worship at a church, but yet you could go out and loot in Minneapolis
Right.
and Oakland,
It's safe.
and do all that, and that was
It's
fine.
distancing, social distancing.
But where? But yeah,
It's ridiculous.
I know it is ridiculous. But going back to say now, let's just say 2016,
Right.
Right? Why don't Republicans, when they saw what was going on there, why didn't something happen? Why isn't there any accountability? Why isn't Hillary arrested?
So the first mistake was that. That was the first mistake. Trump said, "Leave her alone." You remember? Do you remember that?
Yeah, he
Do you
did.
remember the moment? He said, "Leave her alone," and I screamed. I screamed because somebody has to feel the consequences of the actions. I know what it is to feel the consequences of your actions, and that causes change. And they let her off the hook, and she went in the woods for 30 days up in someplace upstate New York, there in the hoity-toity area that she lives in. She walked around the woods with bottles of wine in her hand, and she came out of the woods roaring. Do you remember?
Yeah, no, I
She
do.
came out and she attacked him. After about a month or two, she went right after him. He's illegitimate. He doesn't belong in the presidency. And people gave her the audience rather than going, "Shut up and go lay down. You lost," which is what you or I might do to the last guy.
Yeah, but here's the thing. This goes back to what I'm saying. The people, how this happened here, and how this is acceptable, is the CIA has now
Okay.
their people.
That comes full circle.
No, but yeah, they have their people that go on these, or
They're intruding in my
I agree.
our life right now. I'm going to get an ad for medical marijuana now, or I'm going to get an ad for my knee that I mentioned, or my gut I want to lose. It's going to come up
Yes.
today. It's coming up.
Yeah. No.
So they're listening.
We're back? All right, good.
They're listening to everything. Now, I'm going to tell you a story. Right? Let's divert. I was in prison. Of course, we all know that. In 1992, 3 or 4 comes in some DEA agents get arrested. Now, when I say DEA agents, they might have been part of a DEA task force. I don't know that. One was a state cop, and there was 3 or 4 of them came in. It was they call them groups. Remember back they called them Group 36, Group 32. Whatever. They had all these different groups that worked around the city and Long Island and the state together. They intertwined with the feds. Guy comes in and says to me, "You know how most of this stuff happens that you never hear about?" I go, I'm a city cop. What do I know? I'm on patrol. He goes, "NSA."
Because they're listening to everything.
He said, "Most of our busts start out from the NSA." Now, I'm probably going to get fucked for saying this.
So I know what you're saying. So you're saying most of our busts, we get tipped off right away when somebody's talking on an Alexa. Somebody's talking in their GPS or whatever. Whatever it may be, they could be talking on their phone and their conversation is being recorded.
I'm talking back in the middle 90s, not today. Today it's different. Today it's a different whole animal.
Today it's 400 times different than it was
yeah,
then.
Yeah, exactly. If they want, they open this phone up and listen right away, and they see you getting laid, right? But back then, they said that the NSA would, and who, Snowden? Was it Snowden? Or,
yeah, Eric Snowden.
One of these guys mentioned, I forget.
He's the one who came out and said the NSA. He's the
Right.
whistleblower.
Right.
Let me ask you about him.
So wait a minute. So they would say to them this. They're moving a shipment of whatever it was, cocaine, heroin, marijuana from Antigua to Miami. Go get it. And they would say, you articulate how you came across it. We're just letting you know.
Oh, I know what you're saying.
You
Set it
developed
up.
the probable cause.
Set it up, yeah.
You developed the probable cause. So this has been going on for a long time. And listen, and you know what? No one really gets mad at that, right? Think about it. Who gets mad? They stopped a shipment of cocaine. They stopped a shipment of this or that, whatever. No one gets mad at it. They're happy.
Let me ask you about Snowden, right? So real quick, he is the one who was a whistleblower saying they're listening to everything, especially after what happened in 9/11.
Right.
And then there was some speculation whether or not Donald Trump should pardon him. I think it was Mitch McConnell who came down and said, "No, you better not do it. There'll be a lot of backlash." But there is
Right now he'd be here, wouldn't he?
Well, do you think that he is?
Oh yeah.
Do you think if you were president, would you pardon Snowden?
Yes.
And why?
I would pardon him because not everything appears as what it is, right? So he actually told everybody the truth,
right? Think about it.
He told the truth, and now he's persecuted.
So here's the thing. Not only did he tell the truth, but he exposed criminality for the people that are the ones who arrest people committing crimes.
Right.
That's why this country, in my opinion, is going nowhere fast.
Right.
Because until you gut out the FBI, the CIA, and the powers that be that hate, really it comes down to is this: they hate America.
They hate the Constitution.
Yeah. That's
No,
how
because
disgusted you
I
are.
would not fight. I would die for this country at any moment, but no longer.
Why though?
Because
It's still your country.
Yes, but
It's still your
but the
country.
people that are controlling it and running it, they don't want me here. They don't want me, and they don't want you, Joe.
No, they don't. I know they don't.
They don't.
Then how bad is it?
Because you're calling them out.
Well, somebody has to know what's happening here. And here's the thing, too, is how do the people still vote, say, Democrat, right, in a way? But again, like I said, Republicans are just as bad. You vote Republican and you think that you're going to get some type of results.
Yeah.
Like we had, not only did we have Donald Trump in office, we also controlled the Senate and the House. We got nothing really done.
No.
Nothing. Nobody went to jail. No committees.
Well, if you don't clean house, you're never going to get any change. It has to be cleaned.
Yes.
He said we got to drain the swamp.
Yes,
but
I know,
they
but he
wouldn't
didn't.
let him. And you know why? Because it started in house. Because Trump was not an experienced politician. Okay, think about this. He's not experienced, and they started surrounding him. The RNC surrounded him with people that would protect the RNC.
Yes, like Mattis. Like,
Go down the list.
Yeah, down the list.
All pro their agenda, not America. They were pro the agenda.
And guess what? The one guy that wasn't that General Flynn.
Flynn.
And what'd they do with him?
They arrested him.
Get him right out.
Exactly.
Get him right
because
out.
he knew the truth, and he was willing to speak the truth. They had a truth sayer at the top, listen, you and I can sit here and scream the truth out all day long, but with no support, it doesn't go anywhere. But if he had the support around him, Trump could have changed everything. But he couldn't get the support.
And again, like you said, he wasn't a politician that was polished.
No.
And knew, hey, I got to get this guy. I need that guy. Who do I trust? Everything was kind of on the whim, and then as we go on the fly.
Yeah, I mean,
so to
look at Chris Christie, what he did to Trump, really.
I know.
Really.
Oh,
I mean, he's a
railroaded
bastard. He's a bastard.
I agree 100%.
He got in, he hugged him, he held him. Oh, we're great friends. You fat pig. And then he did this to him.
I know.
He screwed him every chance he got. Now, he made believe. That's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
How about Michael Cohen, his attorney? I mean, it's your private attorney, and then all of a sudden now you're on every talking point on CNN. You're writing a book about Donald Trump.
You're a big shot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It really
puts
is.
you on the map.
It really
There's no loyalty. And you know what? So loyalty, what is loyalty? So people accuse me of speaking out about this. So the mob bullshit, right? There's no loyalty. The only you owe loyalty to somebody who's loyal to you. If I fucked you tomorrow, you owe me zero. That's the way life is. Because how can I be loyal? Like some guys go, I didn't snitch, I didn't rat. The guy's giving you up. He's banging your old lady, and you're saying you're a stand-up guy? Who's a fool here? You're giving loyalty to someone that doesn't deserve it? This is why this whole, like, Trump brings people in, and he goes on the loyalty aspect, right? And then when they fire him, Trump's talk shit about them because the guy's not loyal. And what's this, Scaramucci? Scaramucci was there 11 days.
Yeah, I know, gone. And the next thing you know, he's on MSNBC.
Yeah, he's a favorite.
Yeah.
He's a favorite talk show.
A couple of things that let's get to a couple of topics here. I just want your opinion. I want to see where your head's at. So we had 2020, Trump loses, and now we're parlaying soon. Trump announces 2024. You now reside in Florida.
Right.
You see how Ron DeSantis, you get to see firsthand how he handles his business down there. What is your take on 2024? Is it Ron DeSantis? Is it Donald Trump? Do you think Ron DeSantis will run against Donald Trump? Because remember, without Donald Trump, Ron DeSantis doesn't become governor.
No, he doesn't.
So there, again, back to what you're saying, loyalty.
Right.
Does Ron DeSantis, in your opinion, show loyalty and bow down and say, let Trump have his 2024? Or do you think America needs Ron DeSantis to step up and say, hey, I'm your best shot?
They're going to rip Ron DeSantis apart. That's why they want Ron DeSantis to run.
They're going to do the same thing they did to Donald
They're going
Trump.
to rip him apart. So my opinion is they've already attacked Trump from 5 million angles. He's still standing. He has the money and finances to withstand these bastards. I don't think DeSantis would have to fold within weeks. And I don't mean fold and quit. Change his
perspective on how he's
on how
you're saying
how does he go forward? How does a guy like how would you and I go forward? We'll put our head on the chopping block. But these guys, they have lives. They have an image. You know,
You're talking about
they're going to
like
be a sellout. He's going to be a sellout.
I don't think he would be.
Listen,
I don't think he would be, but you're saying he probably financially wouldn't be able to withstand the attacks, the barrage.
So then what would happen is they would have a weakened candidate going in to the
primaries.
No, let's say he wins.
Oh, into the debates.
Yeah, it'd be him against the asshole. Let me excuse my language for the president of the United States today. Him against bumbling Biden, and Biden would be incoherent, and the mediator would tell Biden what to say, and then correct DeSantis in the middle of the debate, and DeSantis would probably win the debate, but they'll go, but that's poor Uncle Joe, and DeSantis won't attack because he'd be abusing an elder. I mean, think of the whole setup.
Do you think? Well, let's expand that. Do you think that it doesn't even matter who is who, that the elections are rigged no matter what? Because you look at Carrie Lake, what happened to her down in Arizona. First of all, I love her.
She's wonderful.
Wonderful.
Her and Trump.
Polished.
Yes.
As you could possibly
Smooth, attractive, nice, easy on the eyes, well-spoken.
No no anything, just like this, talks right off the cuff.
Right.
Very personable. But look what happened there. Do you think that we're at a point now?
It's disgusting.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But people are starting to give up. People are starting to say, well, what's the point that I go down to the voting block or down to the voting booth? It doesn't matter anyway. Because when you had, right before the 2000,
they got to get rid of mail-in ballots.
It'll never happen. It's never happening. It's never going to happen. But the Democrats
when they farm the ballots, what do they do? They
the harvest.
The harvest. They farm.
Yeah, same thing.
Same thing. Yeah, that's got to go. Got to go.
I know.
It's got to go.
With you.
If I'm in a nursing home, think about it. There's 350 elderly people, and the coordinator of the nursing home is in beds with the local Democratic committee, party, blah, blah, blah. And they say, listen, I got 435 patients here, and, most of them, they give us control of their document, and we sign it, and
it's all Biden.
We witness it. It's all Biden. 80%, 92% of the people come out of there because the other ones are alive. The other ones that are dead, it's all Biden. You got 400 votes for Biden, one address.
Yeah, I understand.
This is what goes on. This is real. I know it because I know people that work in nursing homes that tell me this.
That are actually, what you're saying is they'll actually just take they won't give it to June Smith.
Hey, June don't care.
June doesn't even know that the ballot's
here. She doesn't even know
here.
the ballot exists. It's there in her name.
Yes, and then they probably just say, just sign this right here.
Been going, and who counts the ballots? Not the, ever hear the story? It's not who votes; it's who counts the ballots.
Well, yeah, well, look what happened in Arizona. It's just, she didn't even want to recuse herself from being the one who's in charge of counting the ballots.
I mean, you would be at least.
But do you think? But that's my question. Then do you
consider
think
that?
But that's my question. Then do you think that the Republicans ever even have a chance? They were supposed to blow out the Democrats in the House.
I don't understand this because I'm going to tell you something. I walked around with my Trump hat on the other day. I'd say 2 months ago, just before the midterm, the new midterm, in Long Island, which is probably 55-45 Republican/conservative, right? But it can go either way with the wind and
agreed.
Yeah. I had my Trump 2024 hat on, and I was in a bank. Now, I would guess that most of the tellers weren't pro-Trump. Just guessing. In walks a family. I'm a quick read. They were a black family in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. It was a variation. And they looked at me, and I looked at them, and they go, Trump 2024, right? And I go, I'm like, I don't know what they're talking about. I didn't realize I had the hat on. They go, the one woman who's probably 60-ish, retiree maybe, you could tell civil servant maybe, because they were a little bit overweight. You know, they're well fed. They had a good, decent life. Listen, I'm a quick read. You know, call me prejudiced, but I'm a quick read. I saw them. They were successful people. They had a good life. They looked at me and they go, the border? That's a scam. I'm like, I didn't
You didn't even say anything.
Nothing. I said nothing.
The border.
The border. That's a scam. That's a distraction. I mean, this is an African American family living in Long Island, Brentwood, Bayshore, Iceland, wherever they're living. You know, with us, grew up with us, and they know, So something's not right.
I know something's
not right.
There's no way
that was unsolicited.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
And wait, let me finish. Not once in the 3 weeks that I wore that hat did anyone say anything negative to me. Not once.
But again, my question
So who voted for this guy?
But I'm saying, do you think
And his agenda.
that it's useless? That you think that no matter what, you also
You can't surrender, bro.
I'm not saying it's surrender.
You can't surrender.
Well, you're the one saying that you gave up. You don't even want to fight for the country.
Oh, I'm not for this government. I will not fight for this government. If you and I want to go, what did Joey Coco Diaz says? 3 good men, we can do a lot.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's so.
The CIA's screwing everything. You know, there's a lot. So remember this. They said the CIA was over in Germany and all this other stuff, and so people call you a conspiracy theorist, right? Right away. They were tabulators were going through servers in Germany, Israel, wherever they were going through. I can't keep track of all the things that was said. And then they say conspiracy theory.
Right, and then whether or not the CIA had
sick.
They had their hand in on this whole thing. Honestly, we're just bullshitting with you. What's your opinion on what happened to JFK?
Okay, so I had to do some research, not because of the show, because it was bothering me. Because I've always been aloof to this. Because, first of all, it happened right around the time I was born. I didn't know JFK. I heard he was an admirable guy. My parents loved him. Think about them. My parents loved him. And they're not Democrats today. They were then. By the way, most of us on Long Island, people don't know this, that most of us on Long Island were Democrats.
Did you ever vote Democrat?
No.
Never. You never crossed the party line and said, whatever, I'm going to vote best
Oh, yes,
candidate?
I did one time. Downey from Brentwood guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I golfed with him. He's a good guy.
Okay.
And Caesar Trunzo. Well,
I think you should be able to vote. I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
No,
I voted for Clinton. Bill Clinton.
Yeah, no, I never did, but I did
because I hated Bush so much.
Yeah, I did suggest my family vote for Clinton because he was supposed to do something for the federal inmates back in 1996, and he didn't, and they burnt the prisons down.
Yeah.
As a result, they burnt half of the prisons on fire. It was a crack law they're supposed to change. Anyway, so but I feel that. Where were we going with this?
We're talking about conspiracy theories, JFK.
Right, so the JFK thing. So I had to do a little digging. So I was frustrated because I can't believe my own government is involved in this. And then I went and someone sent me the tape, which is public information, when Lee Harvey Oswald, is that his name?
Mm-hmm. And Ruby.
When he was walking past, the photographers yell out to him, "Why'd you do it? Why'd you do it?" And he says, "I'm a patsy."
I'm a patsy. Think about that. You're locked up. You're in cuffs. I don't know if we can pull that. Can we pull that on YouTube or something?
I'm a patsy, he says.
The JFK,
Lee Harvey Oswald
get shot
before Ruby shot. Jack
Yeah.
Ruby shoots him. Yeah. And so I've looked. By the way, and I was a cop, so I know a little bit about firearms. I'm not a big firearms expert. I shoot pretty well, but whatever.
But you could read people too.
I can read. So when I saw the shooting and the way his head went,
he's talking about JFK.
JFK.
Oh yeah, that's my theory.
It didn't make sense to me that he got shot from back up there
of the observatory.
Yeah.
My thing. I went there. I was at Dallas.
Yeah.
And I went to the whole thing. I went up to the observatory, the library up
Right.
there. I went down to where the grassy knoll is.
Right.
There's no way that because when he got shot, you saw the trajectory of his head go back like that.
Right.
There's no way. There it is.
Do you happen to know if this is it or not?
That's Lee Harvey Oswald speaks out. No, that's not it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not it.
Okay.
But actually, you know what though? Forget about that one. Can you pull up JFK getting shot?
Yeah.
Let's see that. Let's see him actually get shot.
Live?
Yeah, live.
live.
Just Dallas, JFK shot in Dallas. Maybe we can bring that up. But
I know. I mean, I'm embarrassed now. So I'm embarrassed that I never gave that any consideration. And just like these
The following content can be.
these conspiracy theorists, they bothered me. You know.
What do you think?
No?
I don't know. Well, because we're live and doing YouTube. All right, so forget it then. Don't even worry about it. Because who knows? Then they might not, take down the live feed because now you're feeding it
so
to
we
them.
both have seen the same thing, and it doesn't look like he got shot from up a back place and shit.
Well, my question is do you think the CIA had their hands in it?
Yeah. Now I do.
Yes.
I could play
never
it
did.
for you guys to watch and just not show it if you want to watch it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. No,
right.
I today I believe, but it took. I've been hearing about this for 50 solid years.
All right, here we go. Let's see what we got cooking here.
This is just some image.
Yeah. I mean, I've been hearing about this for 50 years and thinking that they're all crazy, right? That all these people are crazy. What's going on?
It's going to happen.
What's he doing ducking? Wait, he's already shot.
Is he already shot? But let's see if this. There it is.
Oh.
That's from the front.
That's from the side.
That's from the side?
That's from the side.
You think that's from the side?
Yeah.
Oh, I think that's direct on. How his head cocked back. So when I was there is a little.
Wait, was he hit first and then a second?
Yes.
Yes.
There's more than one shot.
Yeah, because he's already hit. Is she going out? See, he's already hit here, right? So he's going down.
And she's like, "What's the matter? What's the matter? What's
Right.
going on?" Oh, that is a side kind
That's
of
a side
side
shot.
angle, like almost a 45 degree.
Yeah, it's not straight on. That's on the side.
But that's where it was. Where not in the grassy knoll part, there was a parking lot where they said there was a guy, and then the guy who was in the parking lot, the security guard,
Right.
saw somebody come in and then leave. Yeah.
Now
That
some
angle is
that's
that-
some fucking shot.
But it's not. It's less than 50 yards, in my opinion, from where I was.
So you think
Talk about a rifle.
A rifle with a scope.
Yeah, with a scope. I mean, I'm not a gun guy. You
Yeah.
are.
Yeah, that's some shot. Now,
Think
moving,
about how about this
moving.
though? But how about this? Think about from all the way up in the observatory.
I mean, this guy who shot that fucking gun is an extreme marksman.
Do you think there was one shooter, or do you think there was two?
I
Because
think-
you had the guy.
I think there's
top-
two. There's two.
There had to
There's
be.
definitely two. That's not one shot. That's because there's two completely different angles. Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
But the thing is
not.
why are we not 100% transparent and release everything so everybody can know? This is what I'm saying. We're at the age now, a technological age, that everything is this.
Unbelievable. That's seeing that again actually disturbs me a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Well, here, you know what the really disturbing thing is? Could you actually think that we have a government agency in the CIA that would commit murder on a U.S.
I
sitting
would
president?
never have.
Think about that.
I would never
think about that.
I would
though.
never.
How deep that is.
I listen. I've been thinking about it now for a couple of weeks.
But now here's the thing: if they were able to do that,
Right.
and get away with it, you don't think that they would spy on Donald Trump's campaign?
Wait, that's a fact.
But that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Think about how far they will go and how crazy what's happening.
And why
here.
do we think? Why are they doing it? Can you answer me that? Why do you think they're doing this?
Control.
Is there something?
Power?
What is it that they
Donald
want?
Trump is against the norm.
We get that.
So here's the thing.
But what are they trying to protect?
It's money. So here's the thing, too. Like, right? You think Donald Trump would allow what's going on in Ukraine right now?
No.
Why
Be
not?
done. It would be over with.
But why are
Would
they?
never ever happen, by
Okay,
the
but
way.
why are they continuing giving
Well, that's
aid to Ukraine?
That's a military complex, a military industrial complex making money.
Making money. They're washing money.
Right. Correct.
Give it to the NGOs.
Yeah, but
you give it to Raytheon. You give it to Boeing.
Thousands
You give
of
it to,
people are dying. I mean, come on.
my thing is that.
What do you want?
But what would you do? Well, let's just say. So my thing is if you were a real leader in Joe Biden, you get, and that's what the United States should be. You get Putin and you get Zelensky,
Yeah.
and all three of us are
Sit
going to go
down.
to Camp David, and we're going to all sit
Let's
down.
talk
Or
about
whatever. We'll go to Russia,
what's
whatever.
going on?
And we're going to resolve this one way or another.
What's the problem? What do you need?
There should
What do you
be
don't have that you need? And what's the gain by going here?
But they did it on purpose because they knew that if we allowed, and we even had some types of talks of allowing Ukraine into NATO, that Putin was not going to be cool with it. Because the same thing happened with the country of Georgia.
Right.
back in I think it was 2012, 2008, whatever it was.
Yeah, right around.
Yeah.
He was involved.
And-
The other guy, Obama, the useless Obama,
And-
the real purveyor of this whole scam.
Yes.
He put this all in place.
You think so?
100%.
Yes.
He put it all in place, and it started because he didn't know what he had. Obama didn't know what he had, but Clinton taught him.
When you say you didn't know what he had, what do you mean by
He
that?
didn't know.
The amount of kickback
Yeah,
that you
he
could
didn't know
possibly
how,
do?
he didn't know how the money could flow. Because being a senator, okay, you're around stuff. You know, you could change a couple of bills and you know and maybe call your friend up and say, listen, they're buying land in Alaska right now. Buy it before we sign the bill. Whatever. But you're talking about Hillary Clinton, who's been in since 1973. She's been trying to impeach the president. She tried to impeach Nixon back in 73 or something like that. She was involved in the Watergate hearings.
Yes.
You know that, right? You know.
Oh yeah, I saw the movie, the best movie.
Yeah, and she got suspended. They were going to suspend her. They were going to terminate her license to practice law because of it.
That I didn't know.
never saw that movie, by the way. I'd like to see that.
You never saw All the President's Men?
No, I never. I don't watch. I'm not a movie guy.
I gotta tell you, that's a great movie.
And she specifically pointed out in it.
Yeah. Oh no, she's not. That's what I'm
Okay.
saying.
Oh, okay.
But I was just referring to it. And that, you know what's crazy is Deep Throat is a former CIA,
Yeah.
the head of the CIA,
Right.
who's Deep Throat giving the information to these reporters to take down a sitting president.
Yeah, right.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then you have the CIA with the To Kill a Mockingbird, the Mockingbird scandal, when they were actually threatening reporters to use their propaganda, or they would, hurt them.
Yeah, right.
Whether financially.
Yeah. Well, so Obama started doing that with, remember Rosen from Fox News?
Yes.
He went after Rosen right off the bat. Like in the first 2-3 months of his presidency, he went after Rosen. And all of a sudden, the Fox News reporters getting arrested, or I don't know if he got arrested or he was put out on public notice that he was under some kind of suspicion for anti-governmental activity, whatever it was, espionage, whatever the facts were. I don't know, but he put it in place because he learned through Clinton when he went. So here's how this how it developed. He went to Clinton and told her, "We're getting reports that your organization is involved in a lot of backhanded deals," and she said, "Don't you worry, I'm going to separate myself." And she put Aberdeen, right? Uma Aberdeen in charge of, was it her foundation? I can't remember the specifics on her because these things, they come and they go because I'm not looking for conspiracies. I'm not looking for my government people to be acting in such a broad manner. No one is. They're thinking that their government's there to protect them and keep them safe and make sure that they don't overspend. That's what everybody thinks that the government's doing. But in fact, it's the opposite. They're selling you out so that they can enrich themselves. And people don't, if they don't come to understand that, then they're not going to look.
They're not going to be able to.
They're not going to look.
They're not going to be able to because it goes back to what you said before. They control the media, and it's all propaganda. The propaganda is at an all-time high. You're never going to get these people to...
Russia's more honest than us.
Yeah.
They tell you straight out we're communists.
I know what you're saying. We're bad, and this is what we're doing.
This is how we do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing is they don't care about America first. They just care about the globalist agenda and how they can enrich themselves and keep the cash coming in. That's it.
I don't know how they do this.
Well, here, this is the next thing that I wanted to
How come
talk.
we're not in these meetings?
The next question that I wanted to ask you is,
globalist too, you know.
what did you think of January 6th? Do you think that was do you think that was an FBI operative?
Yeah.
And
then I heard something yesterday about this guy. Wasn't working for the FBI. This big
Epps.
fucking doof. Yeah, he wasn't working for the FBI. Is that?
That's what they're probably coming out and
the
saying.
propaganda.
But here's the thing.
I was there. I wasn't there. Sorry.
Yeah, you better be
So
careful.
hold on. I wasn't there, but
Here's the thing.
I watched every one of those footages.
You can't have a guy that says, "Let's go
at
attack."
6'8".
Yeah, let's go attack the Capitol, and never get arrested.
And not bring him in.
Because that doesn't make any sense. Because that's the whole point of it.
Right.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
anybody
'cause
that said, let's go attack the Capitol.
They go.
You're done.
Yeah, you said attack.
Yes.
Which is an insurrection. Maybe you went with a bottle of water. Not like the Antifas with knives, guns, bottle rockets, gas tanks, cars running people over. These people went to their capital to say, hey, we don't like this. And they all got arrested.
They all got arrested.
Some
Yeah,
of them are
man.
still in jail. Some of them will get 20, 30 years.
I hear that Joe Biden's going to come out in his speech on January 6th and say that there was 2 officers that got killed because of January 6th insurrection, when we know for a fact
They died
that
on their
nobody
own.
died. They didn't have anything to do with January 6th.
Exactly.
The only person
They
was
probably got
Ashley
the
Babbitt.
shot.
They're talking.
They probably got the shot.
When you saw that yesterday, right? When you saw that yesterday.
Oh, we can't talk about it.
Yeah, I know. It's so hard. So let's talk about censorship, though, right?
Because they're being censored right now.
Yeah, well, let's
That's
talk
why.
about then censorship without talking about anything
So
in particular.
when I meant shot with a gun,
Yeah, yeah.
with a gun, not
Yeah.
in the arm.
When you say
Sorry.
when you see everything that's happening here in this society, right, with the censorship and everything,
Right.
how do you have a democracy when you can't say certain things that are on your mind?
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist. You've destroyed it. So that's what separates us. I mean, because many other countries don't have freedom of speech.
But again, go back to what we were saying. Who was censoring? The FBI. The FBI was actually contacting Twitter.
Well-
They were actually contacting Facebook,
Right.
and saying, "Hey, listen,
And why?
you got to stop. You got to watch this person. You got to watch that. You got to shadow ban this person."
I've been shadow banned for about 4 or 5 years now, maybe more,
on Twitter.
on Twitter. Yes, and it was proven to me. I didn't know. I don't know how do you know? How would you know? And a guy showed me yesterday how I am shadow banned. He sat with me in Starbucks in Islip on Sunrise Highway. In case you know,
Well, then how is it that
in
he
East
approved
Islip,
you?
he typed my name in and it wouldn't come up. He had to put so. In other words, and it happens. Oh, by the way, it happens on Google. Put Donald Trump in. You have to spell Trump to get Donald to come up. To get Donald Trump to come up. If you put Donald and then Trump, it doesn't come up till you put the M and then maybe the P. So but if you put in Joe Scarborough, I'm just giving you a name. Put in Joe S. Boom, Scarborough comes right up.
I understand what you're
You
saying.
understand?
They're leading you.
They're
It's like a leading
you.
question.
Right? And it's. I'm telling you, it happens to you too. I can't find you on here. I had to type in every letter of your word to get you on here. How many ZZs are there? C-O-Z-Z.
I understand
I
what
got to
you're saying.
put the O in for you to come up.
So,
It's a fact.
couple of
It's a
things.
fact.
I understand. Couple
That's
of
why
things.
your numbers aren't up, because you should have one of the best shows on. And I'm not kidding you, by the way.
Well, there's
'Cause
a
you
lot
have
of
a lot of
censorship
you have a lot
too.
of you
There's a lot of
honest-
censorship too.
You have a lot of honest interaction.
Yeah. So let me ask you this too. Let me
Truth.
bring up a couple of things.
Am I right? Yeah.
Let me bring up a couple of other topics.
You can
before
tell me if I'm
go
wrong.
Here. A couple of topics that I want to just bring up to you, just to get your take on, what's happening in what we're doing. What do you think about the border? Why does this administration allow what's happening at the border? What is your take on
Okay,
that?
so there's a couple things. Number one, if you look at the population in New York State and California, and there's probably half a dozen other states, Michigan, Wisconsin, they're all leaving.
Well, you're talking about ours. You're talking about leaving California,
They're
leaving. Yes.
They're leaving. They're leaving.
Washington.
They're done. People are done with it because they can no longer exist. One, taxes, and two, the political environment makes it untenable for these people to stick around because they're being. I mean, look, if you make a post on social media, you can lose your job, and people are, and they have. So these people don't want to be in an environment that's that tenuous. Is that I don't know if that's the proper word.
So you're saying,
fickle?
Yeah, you're saying, yeah. This.
Even if they're not 100% conservative Republican / whatever.
Well, what's your theory on that? So you're saying because these people are leaving, they're trying to fill this void with
yeah, and
illegal aliens.
Yes, and if you noticed, I mean, Schumer came out the other day and said, "Let's get these 11 million rights to vote, and everybody else too." Why? Well, I mean, he said it. He said what they're going to do. And if you notice, they're voting in local elections around some of these places, and they're trying to get them to vote in New York City right now.
You're talking about illegals.
Illegals.
Yeah. That which is the most ridiculous thing that you could possibly have.
I mean, why become a citizen then?
My thing is this, though. Why are you allowing this to happen when you know that all the crime that's taking place? You literally have the cartel running the United States of America. Yeah, think about seriously.
Right. Yeah.
And China.
$500,000 a month coming in.
And China supporting what they're doing by bringing in the fentanyl.
Right.
Supplying the fentanyl, and then the cartel basically sex trafficking, where you could go,
I try to separate a couple of those things, because first of all, why is America and excuse me for being a little naive. How about we the sex trafficking capital of the world? When we have shows about pedophilia, you have the undercover show where they'll call the guy up and come meet my 11-year-old girlfriend or whatever, and then they have the guys there beating the fuck.
How about drag queen story hour?
Well, this is what's strange. I mean, I don't get any. I mean, there's so many angles where they're breaking down our society. And one of the things with opening the border is they're trying to backfill these places. New York State.
I don't think that's the reason. I think it's more of a voting block. Well, these people come in.
Well, stop. 500,000 people left New York in a year and a half now. They all went to Florida, 80%.
Yeah, but those are Republicans.
Yeah, stop.
So they're not losing a vote.
Yeah,
because
but
those
they're
are
losing
Republicans.
numbers.
Yeah, but they're
losing seats in Congress.
But yet those are Republicans voters.
Right.
They want them to go. See you later.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Yes.
And they want them to go.
You can say that, but they still have to fill the numbers to get the number of representatives. So Florida gets 3 million more people this year. That means they get 2 or 3 more representatives.
I understand what you're saying in
so
regards
they need to maintain some kind of, because if New York goes down to 20 representatives, they no longer have the
majority of
the input.
The pull at
right. In California, the same way.
Yeah, I understand.
So that's why that's important for them to backfill.
Again, because we were short on time here.
Yeah.
And I want to go back to the question I was asked you before. You really didn't answer it, so let's really get this answer here. Where do you see the United States of America in 5 years from now, 10 years from now?
Okay, so 5 years, we're going to either have a Republican president and get back, and have a lot of shit happen, a lot of major. We're not exposed. We're going to go down that path.
When you say we, you're talking about America in general.
Yes.
Okay.
We need to expose
the corruption.
The corruption, the inner workings, and how the corruption takes place. Because the word corruption is so nothing anymore. There's nothing to corruption. The corruption doesn't mean anything. Show me the corruption.
You're saying, though, to be more specific, you're saying Democrats have to actually have a perp walk. There's got to be a perp walk of Democrats. Because if that's not 100%, the case, right?
And Republicans that are working with them.
Yes. So you're saying
100%.
There's got to be some type of accountability.
There's got to be accountability.
Yes.
And I've said that all along. I'll say this to the audience and anybody else. Clinton's the smartest bitch in the world because she built the system that she can get away in.
Well, can't you say that about the whole Democratic Party?
Yes.
Right?
Well, she's their leader. She's their leader still. I mean, Obama now figurehead. Obama's John Gotti figurehead. But Clinton's the consigliere in
consigliere.
Yeah, she's running everything. She set this whole thing up, and Obama benefited from it. So it's like John Gotti going, "Oh, this is great. These guys are bringing me all this heroin money in from fucking Sicily. I'm not going to say a word." Obama's the same guy up top doing the same thing. Because these people down here, they know how to work the system. He didn't know. But he's doing good.
When you were a cop in the city, right, and you were knee deep.
Angry.
Was there a lot of mob boss crime going around at the time when you were in the
There was a lot of mafia crime.
They
ran the city.
But did you see a lot of it? Did anybody come up to you ever and say, "Hey, listen"?
Well, I worked with some of them.
You did?
Yeah.
Give me an example of what you were doing.
Well, I mean, so one particular organization, they were involved with the cause because street cops can't get too deep. You can't get too deep in the drug and the trafficking.
Too easily exposed.
Right. Yeah. But what I could do for them, and they knew, was help them get cars. So, for example, the guy his 3 friends have cars. They don't want to pay the nut on the car. So they buy a brand new car, and then they have it stolen. And he's the guy who recovers it, and I'm the cop who recovers it for him to make sure he gets that car instead of some other tow operation gets that car. So I know how they operate.
Oh, you're saying the mob has the tow company,
right?
And that now there's always business coming.
Always business, always money flowing.
Always money coming in.
And they're paying off the insurance guy. And
how does a guy reach out to you and get you to get involved in that? How does that conversation happen?
It's not that difficult.
Well, I'm saying though, like, what happened? Are you patrolling?
I'm going to
on the Belt Parkway, and you get
so there's an accident. I show up. The guy shows up with his tow truck. I'm just giving an example. Back in the day, today it's a little different. And the guy shows up and he puts a tow on. Hey, officer, how you doing? Good, great. Yeah, my shop's over here. And I know where your shop is. And all of a sudden, I'm going by his shop. Hey, officer, how you doing? Hey, you want a sandwich? You want a beer? You want this? You want that? You want a broad? What do you need? Da. And all of a sudden, you're pals. And you can't get your pal in trouble. Then the pal says, "Listen to me. I got this car. Oh, no problem." So it's a withering away of the defenses, and everybody has a little greed in them, a little larceny in them. Everybody has it. It's a matter of what side. If it's 51% or 49%, and you.
Well, it's really comes down to whether or not you'll act on it. Everybody has it.
Right.
It's whether or not you'll act on it.
And sometimes you'll. Listen, if I didn't know you, I wouldn't do you the favor.
What was the first thing though back then that you? When your career went sideways, when you look back and say that was the time that I could either said no, I'm going to be straight.
So I saw some minor corruption and I didn't say anything.
Like what?
So we would go into a drug operation. It's usually it's patrol, so it's not deep.
I know what you're saying.
Surface calls.
Yeah.
There's a drug sales out of this building, and I saw it in Queens when I was a rookie. And all of a sudden, there's no drugs and no one's getting arrested. I'm like,
you saw drugs,
yeah,
and then you don't see drugs.
I saw packages, and I didn't know. I would assume that there must have been some drugs in them because this is a drug call, And then bing, bing, bang, and these guys are all 20-year veterans too, and they were in Queens, and they weren't in a hurry to retire, so they were all, they were doing their thing, I guess. And I'm like, wait a minute, something just happened here, and I'm not sure what it was, but I think it was wrong, and so I saw it. And you learn not to say anything because you're really not quite sure. These guys are quick. They're seasoned guys.
And not only that, you're not looking to rub anybody.
I'm not looking to say anything. I'm looking to just get by for the next tour.
Yes.
And so you begin to see it. It softens you up a little bit, and then at some point in your career, you're faced with some heavy bills one day, and all of a sudden there's a pile of money or there's a pile of drugs, and my friend out in Long Island, he goes to the bar every weekend and buys 8 balls, and you know what? It.
Oh, I know what you're saying. I know this guy who will buy this 8-ball in about 3 seconds, and all I have to do is just pick this thing up here.
We're human. We all know people. Yeah.
And then it'll be a quick sit.
I put $500 in my pocket. Ooh.
That was easy
for a guy making fucking $315 a week. Clear? It's not bad.
Yeah, I understand it.
And so it's. I'm not. Listen, everybody's not predisposed to that, but everybody's predisposed to money. Most people are. They like money.
That's why those city cops, man, they get a raw deal. They should be making a lot more money than that they're making to prevent somebody who's sitting there saying, "I can make with this one little grab of this cocaine." My week's salary,
right?
Because
and there's no exposure. There's no exposure.
It's too tempting.
Yeah,
But if I'm making Suffolk County cop money,
I'm making
I get
$180,000 a year. I can pay my bills. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Life is good.
I'm not going to risk.
I don't want to risk that for a $500 bill.
Yes, I understand what you're saying.
Now that doesn't make it right. We don't condone that, and I don't, because you get. What does the government do? They raise the price to $10 a gallon. They lower it down to $6. They're a hero. So, you keep fudging the area between right and wrong, and then all of a sudden it's, I got to get $8,000 a week from this guy. It went from taking a couple of packages here and there, or a couple hundred here and there, to $8,000 a week is what we should be getting right about now.
Yeah,
yeah.
I'm doing a little too much.
Yeah.
And I'm not getting paid for what I think. You're making a lot more.
Yeah, you're making too much.
You're making. Too
I don't
much.
know you, but I know you're making too much.
Did you have to have those kind of conversations with these people?
Yeah.
Say, hey, listen,
Eventually.
we need to renegotiate our.
Yeah, one guy almost killed. I almost had a shootout with one guy. I mean, if you saw the documentary, the 7-5, I almost had a shootout.
One of the best documentaries.
Yeah, I had a shootout with a guy because he didn't pay me full. He didn't pay me in full. He showed us $700.
And how much was he supposed to give you?
$8,000. Yeah, he showed us $700. Now that's a disrespect. I mean, think about it. Give him $7,300. Fuck him. That's not the way. That's not business.
No, I understand what you're saying.
You don't do that. I risked my life and my career to give you nothing. That's too bad.
Were you scared? Not scared. I don't know if I say the word scared, but were you more hesitant working with, say, organized crime families because you knew that you could be in the back of a trunk in about 2 seconds?
You think you're invincible.
Oh, you thought you
never,
thought
not once.
you thought you were the mob
I
boss.
was the boss.
You were the guy.
I was the boss.
You were more
in my mind. I was the boss.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's crazy how that.
Crazy.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
What do you have coming up now? What do you have?
So I'm a couple things going on, and we should have some answers in the next 30 days, because pre Christmas everything shuts down. We have a. John Alight and I are working on.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
John Alight, he's a mob enforcer for John Gotti. He ended up having to testify against Gotti.
Yeah. I remember now.
Yeah. He was in prison in Brazil. They let him. Anyway, so John and I are supposed to. We're negotiating for an actual podcast / TV series involved in uncovering some crimes of the past. So if it comes to fruition, we're negotiating with some. Network right now to actually pick it up.
Almost like a reality show.
Call it a reality show, but more of an investigative reality show, which I was a little uncomfortable with at first, because we're known for more our shtick. Like you and I can have a shtick, we can go back and forth and have. So John and I were more known for that, but they want to direct us into to share that shtick, but push it towards unsolved crimes. Right.
Okay.
So that's a TV series that they're looking to. They call it a deck. I don't know if you're familiar with the industry. They call it. They put a deck together. They presented it to a couple of big, ABC, NBC, CBS, whatever one it was. I don't know. And one of them says they're very, very interested. They're supposed to put a written proposal this week or next for the series. Now, in addition to that, I have some negotiations with the crew from Ray Donovan, who ran Ray Donovan.
Great show.
Yeah.
Great show.
That organization wants to discuss doing a TV series about the whole 7-5 stuff with me.
I got to tell you the truth.
And
I have to tell you the truth. That's a great show that could be in that starting, Mike Dowd's life of everything that you could bring to the table and all the stories.
So you know what pisses me off? You got this show called East New York right now, right? The 7-4. You ever see it?
No, I never heard of it.
It sucks. But anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I mean, you think they would have called up Dowd, the guy who basically reinvented East New York from 83 to 92 when I was arrested.
Well, it sounds like to me is you gotta set yourself up with a writer, and then have them write the TV series.
Yeah, certain things you just can't get. They don't let you right there. I'm also Ben Stiller. So here's the facts. Ben Stiller is working with. Prime just took over the life rights of my life rights to do the.
That's right. I forgot about that you had that, because he did that other movie. What was that other
Denimore.
Prison? Denimore.
Yeah.
Great. He did a great job on that.
Yeah, he did do a very good job. And we met. Now it's been 3.5 years, so I don't know when they're going to get this thing off the ground. But I've been in communication with the writer for the silver screen movie of the 7-5. They're supposed to take the 7-5 and refashion it a little bit and put it up on silver screen and do a red carpet release type thing on it. So
you're talking about a film,
not a TV series. Now
the series would be better.
So there's a lot of shit that goes on behind the scenes here. So I have been waiting now for 6-7 years for this, but this year there'll be some answers to this, and because I can't wait anymore, I'm getting old, bro. I started this journey a long time ago. I'm getting old.
The docuseries for the 7-5 would be phenomenal, because there's so much juice there, and if you could just produce it the right way, and you get the right people to play, the roles.
That's really exciting to
create.
Yeah, but to delve into that whole.
That would make you want to get up in the morning.
Yes.
And say, hey,
let's go.
I got to go to work.
We got to do this.
Yeah, we got some writing to do. We got some business to take care of.
Right. It'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And like you said, it would keep me involved. It'd get me younger. I'm getting old, bro. I'm feeling it too. So I really am.
We said before we started, time waits for no one.
That's right.
2023. How do people get in touch with you if they want to follow you? How do they do that?
Mike Dowd on Instagram, the Mike Dowd on Twitter, Facebook is Michael Dowd, and I'm accessible. I'm out there. The Soft White Underbelly did a great interview with me.
What was that? Tell me about that. I don't know. Just promote that. For a second.
The Soft White Underbelly is a channel, YouTube channel run by Mark Late, Laite, I think is how you Laita. Good guy. He's a photographer. He's got 4 or 5 million subscribers, bro. I mean, he's big. And then he went on Joe Rogan's show, which, if you were aware, probably 6-7 years ago, I was on Joe Rogan's show.
Yeah.
And so Joe Rogan and him are talking about his experiences, and then they said, "Do you ever interview a cop?" And he says, "Not a current one, but I did an ex one, Mike Dowd." And then 500,000 people went to see the Soft White Underbelly within the next 10 days. So, but it's a really good interview with me. You'll see a little bit of my humanity in it, and some of my twerky goofiness in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's an interesting I shouldn't call it a documentary. What would you call it? So whatever.
It's an interview.
It's an interview, but it's actually a monologue because you know me, I don't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
It was sort of like a monologue, and it was so it was good. But this is a big year. Okay, this is a big year because I'm done waiting. I'm doing something this year because I've been speaking to writers for the 7.5 movie, which is great, and it's got to pay something, but not a lot. And people are going to say, "Oh, you don't deserve anything," right off the bat, you're bad, I lost a job because of this documentary. I was making $100,000 a year, and this documentary came out and lost my job. In the meantime, I got injured. Now I have neck contusions and vertebrae busted in my arm. I can't even work out anymore.
So this is it. This is the year.
This is it.
This is how
If it don't happen now, I'm going to go to Macedonia. Because I think it's about $400 a month.
I love it. Oh, listen.
With some grapes.
It was great having you on, brother.
Yeah.
I love you, Mikey.
Yeah, nice to have you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice,
All right.
nice to be together.
Yeah, nice to be together.
Yeah.
All right, listen, we're going to wrap it up here. If you can, make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel, also on Twitter, on Rumble we're on as well. It's at The Joe Cozzo Show. And with that being said, Mike, love you, baby.
Yeah, thank you. Love you too.
All right,
Thanks,
we're
man.
done.